Well, honey, good morning, I guess. I don't know where I heard it first, but I have heard that the best test for a relationship is how each of you deals with it when the other has a bad cold. In which case, this last night would have been an ideal test bed, literally, for such a relationship. Obviously, that's not an issue, but still, not feeling very well at all. Did get about 5 hours of sleep, but hung out in the balcony for a couple of hours until midnight. It's not hot out there, it's just humid. And at this point, it's actually raining out there. And it actually has been raining a couple of times this past 24 hours, which hasn't really done me any favors if I've been outside, which I try to keep from doing so when it is like this, and I'm like this. The thing is, I actually kind of have to get on with the day. So, here goes. You see, the thing is that once upon a time, back in the days when I was still part of the work farce, we had sick days. But they were meant to be used in extremis. You just couldn't think to yourself, oh, I've got the sniffles today, I'm going to stay home. The job was still there, it needed to be done, you needed to earn your pay, and it would just get that much worse by the next day, so you might as well just suck it up, buttercup, and get on with the day. And if you stayed home every time you thought you were coming down with the sniffles, you'd burn up your personal time in no time at all. So the best thing to do was to just get on with the day, do what you had to do, and try to keep your head down and keep from infecting anybody. There was lip service paid to the idea you don't want to infect your coworkers or anything like that, so if you're feeling really badly, stay home. But the fact that the workload would just double for the next day and you would still be feeling lousy meant that it really wasn't a viable option. So that's generally how I handled things back in those days. Meanwhile, I'm fully aware that things like Dayquil and Advil and the like are nothing more than palliatives. They get rid of the symptoms, sure, but that's all they do. They don't cure whatever it is you have, because there's never been a cure to the common cold. It just allows you to get on with your day and pretend that everything's fine. Of course, the COVID era changed all that. For those first 2 weeks to slow the spread, we were all lepers. Sick, healthy, didn't matter. We were all meant to socially distance for long enough to keep the hospitals from overloading, supposedly. Then, of course, those 2 weeks grew into, well, I don't need to go into the details. The point is, for the longest time, even the slightest illness was met with, stay home, don't infect anybody. But slowly, it got to the point where we needed people to do things, and have everybody stay home at once, it just wasn't an option. Even at the worst of the quarantines, we had those people who were considered essential workers, and some of them were fairly menial tasks, but still considered essential, and they still had to come into work, healthy or not. Now, to be fair, I didn't have direct experience with that, because at that point I was out of the work farce and glad of it, but that's the thing. Things have returned more or less to normal since then, as far as I can tell. And people have just gotten to the point where, once again, we're kind of having to suck it up, buttercup, and back to work. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, what are you talking about, Randy? And why, for that matter? First of all, you're retired. You don't have to deal with the work farce, as you call it. And secondly, you're on vacation. What kind of work do you have to do? And both of these statements are quite true, yes. But at the same time, unlike a couple of years ago during the COVID scares, and during my confinement in Basel even, for instance, I can't stay in my room. I literally have to clear out in order for Ikomang to do his job. And as a result, I've got to be able to suppress the symptoms so that I can get on with the day and get out there and socialize, whether I want to or not. In a way, it becomes my job. It wouldn't have been considered a job by you, but for me, it's hard work. And dealing with it is hard work too. So given the situation, I think I should work up a little bit of a sweat. Maybe not so much about actually working out as such, at least not at the moment. But maybe I can steam it out a little bit. We'll see how it goes. I've actually not gone this way before. So I don't know what to expect, and I'm not even sure it's open. I mean, it should be getting on to 6 o'clock, even though we gained an hour by crossing another time zone. It should be about 6 o'clock now, local time. Wonder if I could just open the door up. There we go. Not there. Here we go. Now, in fairness, I don't know that I'm going to go all the way in here with the camera. Steam room is probably not the best place for it. But let's see what we're dealing with and just take a look around. Oh no, that's not mine. I actually don't know how to get this thing started. Just spinning in place here. How about in here? Okay, this is warm, but where's the light? It is dark in here, and I could stand a little bit light. I am absolutely puzzled as to how to turn on the light in here. Nope, that's push an emergency. There has to be a light in here somewhere, I would think. Although it's pleasant enough to sit in at the moment. And at the moment, it's also still reasonably warm in here. The thing is, I've actually been trying to sweat things out. Sleeping in this robe underneath the covers is actually a bit much in its own right. I've been sweating from the shoulders down, but whether that's actually doing me any good or not is debatable. So figured a little bit of time in the sauna couldn't hurt, and so let's see what happens here. If I can figure out how to switch the light on. Oh, but the clock there says it's only a couple more minutes till 6. I actually am early. Oh well. Honestly, I suppose that a sweat would probably be something for breaking a fever as opposed to a cold, so it's possible that what I'm doing isn't even helping. I'm not a doctor. I don't know about these sorts of things. I might say the same thing about the medication I was just taking. Because quite honestly, by the time I'm showing symptoms, I've already been contagious for a day or two if I understand things correctly. But to stay home just because you think you might be contagious just would mean that you'd stay home all the time. And that's just not possible. So here we go, trying to feel better somehow. I'll be honest, honey, after about 10 minutes of being in there, I don't know if it's doing me a lick of good. I don't know how to turn it on, whether the heat or the light. I will say that the smell of cedar is doing my sinuses some good, but I don't know if it's really helping, and I'm sure I can't activate it the way I should. So I think I'm just going to give up on that. Maybe a soak in a hot tub and leave it at that. Although I suppose now that I'm looking at it, I might as well walk through here because this is a stretch of the ship that I haven't been in at all. It's just not my thing. So, and it's early enough that there's nobody here, so I'm not disturbing anybody. The only question is, how do I get out of here? Relaxation lounges. I don't even know what thalassotherapi is. Gotta be an exit here somewhere. Thermal suite. That might be just a ticket, but gotta be a way out. Even the hair salon is completely locked up. I'm confused. I'm actually lost in here. Wait, I think this might be it. Except for the fact that, yep, here we go. Hello. Thank you. All right. Well, that was a small adventure. Let's just check out the Solarium, where I've been before and I've shown you the place. So we'll leave it at that, and hopefully a warm soak will do me some work. Well, possibly not. Everything's all netted over. And for a moment there, I was seeing some real breakers in the pool. So, I don't know when this will go. And the main pool isn't any better, and possibly a little worse if you count the fact that it's raining. So, yeah, I'm not going to mess with this. Not just yet, anyway. So, it looks like I'm just going to have to go about my day somehow. As I said, I've got to get out somehow for Ikamang's sake, so he can make up the room, do his job, for my own sake, because I still need to feed that cold, and I can't do that for my room. I know there's room service, but you had to order that by 2 o'clock in the morning, and you know me, I can't even make up my mind in, the second that I'm looking at what the stuff is available for me. So I'm gonna just have to go through the rest of the day and see what happens. In any event, hon, keep an eye on me and wish me luck. I guess I'm gonna need it yet.